name is Joanna, and we're with Team Bravo, and we're so excited to share with you our strategy for client identification and expansion for Edward Jones. And my teammates are...
I'm Tyler Cruz. Tevin Williams.
Celeste Scott.
Edward Jones has been serving its clients for over 95 years, giving them trusted financial advice by giving them a personal relationship with their advisor. Edward Jones knows how to make sense of investments. Let us help you make sense of your future clients. So currently, Edward Jones builds that relationship with its clients, again, through face-to-face interactions and that personal relationship in their community. They also have a minimal digital presence, but in today's world, having a minimal digital presence is not an advantage. You need a strong digital presence, and that's a requirement. So the problem Edward Jones is facing is how do they identify, attract, engage, serve, and retain their customers. Our solution to this is a simple 3-step process. They do it through, they learn, connect, and invest. This is what their clients need from Edward Jones. Now they're facing a changing of landscape. Their current customers are baby boomers. They value that face-to-face interaction and thrived with working with their financial advisor in that type of atmosphere. But their future clients, they grew up on the internet. The world has always been a mouse click away. But our question is, how far away is Edward Jones?
So you know who the millennials are, but what are the challenges you face when trying to target the millennials? You have to think about the fact that they haven't had investment experience. This is their first time investing. This is their first time tapping into this market. So you're dealing with little to no investment experience. 75% of women, millennial women, feel uncomfortable with the idea of investing, and they feel like they can't start. And that number follows with 60% of men. And 40% of millennials don't trust, and they don't trust financial advisors. So it's an interesting market with different challenges that we have to face. So we have some population data. This is basically the research we done, an overview of the research we did. And we chose to target Chicago and Los Angeles particularly based on 4 reasons: population, educational attainment, race, and income. And you also have your data sheets that follow along with this to give you more ideas of what the numbers exactly are. But basically, St. Louis doesn't follow along with the trend of Chicago and Los Angeles, seeing how high Chicago and Los Angeles millennial population is, and also diversity. So when targeting St. Louis, it's not just about the millennials. It's about retaining the baby boomers you have, and being headquartered in St. Louis, we think that's an important demographic that we can't miss. So we came up with 4 customer profiles to target millennials and also retain the baby boomers. So meet Alex, Ian, Carrie, and Mark. Alex is a Latin American in Los Angeles. She's 24 years old. She just graduated from college, and she's still living at home with her parents. She's just beginning her career. She's trying to make a foundation for herself and who she is. So she wants to invest. She knows that's what she should be doing, but she doesn't know how. So we're going to show her how she can learn.
Now meet Ian. He's a recent graduate of dental school and knows, again, he should be investing, and he's looking for more of a personalized advice rather than how to. He has a little bit of base knowledge, but he's really looking to build that future plan. How does he pay off his student loans, but also start an IRA?
The next person I'd like to introduce is Carrie. She's an Indian Canadian living in Toronto. But what's exceptional about her is she's a single mother who's also running her own business. Incredibly busy, doesn't really have a lot of time to schedule out appointments and understand what her 2-week schedule is going to be or what she has available from 9 to 5. She needs investment that's available whenever and wherever she is, and that is what our goal with our program is going to be.
And last but certainly not least, we have Mark. And Mark has been a long-time client of Edward Jones, and he's trusted them with his assets for nearly 20 years. Now, Mark does not really represent the group he talked about, because he doesn't really have the same preferences nor desires as those that we talked about. But it's still important to retain that traditional customer.
So we've introduced you to 4 of these profiles that you need to be looking at when facing the millennials and also your current customers. So what do they need from you? They need to learn, connect, invest, and ultimately that leads to retention. So introducing our solution for Edward Jones. This is Financial Futures by Edward Jones, and it is a platform that connects financial advisors to potential clients. So customers such as Ian, Alex, they can come to this site and be connected through the learning aspect. Alex can come and become familiar with the terms, so she becomes more comfortable with investing so that more millennial women can begin to think of investing as something they can and should do with Edward Jones. It serves as a bridge. So Edward Jones built their company on that face-to-face interaction again, and we believe that that still should be the strong differentiator for Edward Jones. That is not going away. What needs to change and be enhanced is how you're attracting those customers and how you're bridging them and getting them to the financial advisor stage. You have to first build that trust with them as millennials crave that connection to your brand. They want to get to know you first.
Definitely. So with the learn component of our recommendation, we're centering around Alex and customers like Alex. So there's 2 key aspects of this component: attracting and educating. So we're going to do that through videos, kind of like a Khan's Academy, where you can go and watch short, to-the-point videos and learn key concepts to investing, like key terms and just the benefits, what you can get from investing, the different type of investments you can have. Because someone like Alex, who just graduated from college, she may not know. She may not even know what options are out there for her. So basically, through this program, the Learn program, this is going to open the door to professional advising. So once you get someone like Alex interested in investing and learning how it's going to benefit her, you can sell her on professional advising. She's going to want to be with Edward Jones, and she's going to want to have an advisor, and it's just going to take off from there.
So not only can our potential clients learn from us, but we can learn from them. In the Connect phase of this Financial Futures platform, our clients fill out a short sequence of surveys so we get to learn more about their interests and financial goals, which is one of Edward Jones' #1 priorities. So they simply answer a few questions about themselves so that we can get to know them, and they are matched with an advisor. They see who their advisor is, and that advisor knows how to specially serve them. They feel a personal connection not only to your brand, but to this person who is ready to help them with whatever need and specific interests they have. Now, the other benefit of having them fill out this short survey in the Connect phase is that we have their information, and in that first phone call made to Ian by his matched financial advisor, he has a great idea of how to really sell him on what he can do for Ian. The other aspect of the Connect phase is to do it in an innovative and cost-effective manner. So if the client is not in a region where the phone call could lead to an in-person visit, as we would plan to do so in the next phase that Tevin will talk about, then the first step is to have that initial phone call. And because millennials grew up with the internet, the second phase would be to have a video call. They're totally comfortable with this. They actually prefer this method of contact. They don't have to leave their living room, and they can get great financial advice from Edward Jones. This helps you because you don't have to create more locations, and you can accomplish one of your large goals, which is to have a bigger impact on more regions throughout your markets. So how do we reach these people and let them know that we're here to connect with them and that this Financial Futures is available? To do this, we plan to utilize social media. We picture Instagram and blog posts being a big part of the strategy. Through Instagram, it's weekly posts featuring financial advisors so they can get to know them, maybe fun, quirky facts, so they're more of a person that can help them. Also, just short, digestible tips that millennials can utilize and integrate into their daily lives. The blog posts will be things that engage and entertain them and that are shared frequently on sites like Facebook, such as how to save money to travel. Every millennial wants to know that, I'm sure. So another example of a blog post would be how to be debt-free by age 30. These are things that not necessarily has Edward Jones right out on front, but through search engine optimization and integrating blog posts and becoming a thought leader on different topics that millennials find important, Edward Jones can really get a step ahead of the competition.
That also presents some interesting risks and potential obstacles. You see, as you open the platform online, you're collecting all this user information, which means you are now subject to FTC compliance. Now, with that being said, we're not facing too, I guess you could say, unfamiliar risks, because Edward Jones has already been collecting data online, which means they do know the privacy and the protection of their clients. But that still doesn't mean we can't be careful, right? Because this is an investment industry, and if you're going to make a platform that's asking for all this information, you're going to want to be extremely careful with that sensitive information. In fact, a recent law passed not too many days ago, which lowers the bar for companies that have that user data for third parties. But again, we still need to consider those risks. But the fact that we are aggregating our own data means that we don't necessarily have to rely on outsourcing other people's data from third-party companies. We are collecting that warehouse and catering our marketing resources from the consumers we're pulling in from this platform. And that is extremely important for the investment process.
So before we get into investment, I want to talk about where we've been. So far we started with the learn phase. In the learn phase, what we really did was we made customers who aren't super comfortable with investing more likely to go to Edward Jones because that's where the knowledge base is. That's what they've learned about investing. And they might even learn along the way what the Edward Jones process is like. We then go to the connect phase. In this connect phase, you're building personal relationships with these clients. As Celeste brought up earlier, only 40% of advisors, 40% of millennials trust current advisors. 67% in the previous generation, huge gap there. By building this connection, we're able to create a better relationship and a better trust between these two clients. Now, what our invest stage is all about is to try and take and leverage our current existing infrastructure that exists within Edward Jones and their Edward Jones online access program. What that means is that any client at any time can go on and see what stocks they have available, see how they're performing, and see how they can be better, be improved, and even contact their advisor. By adding a small part of this, which is an online marketplace, you allow clients to be able to quickly get into the investment world without having a major risk. We aren't suggesting that Edward Jones go completely online and offer the entire portfolio available to the customers. We're simply saying, take this case test. Only offer ETFs. The reason why is because they're passively managed, they're moving away from actively managed at the current rate, and there's more likely to be able to capture these millennials. They want something that's easy to get into. At only $250, being able to get into an ETF is a relatively low barrier of entry and allows you to capture customers down the road. Another great thing is 85% of millennials will stay with the first financial institution. That's a huge benefit if you move down the road according to the UNESCO ISBC study. Another thing that you can also look at is 47% of current millennials aren't taking advantage of the 401k. If you build a relationship with an ETF and you lock in that customer, you have a massive market to be able to expand to down the road. But there's also another challenge with ETFs that I'm moving forward with. And that's the new fiduciary rule. Most of you have probably heard about this, and it's a pretty big thing. Edward Jones is a big proponent against the fiduciary rules, I'm sure you're aware of, and the issues that can cause with having advisors to be able to actively manage ETFs. Faces a huge restriction on what they're able to actually be able to do for the customer, and it requires an open agreement contract of what that commission does, which may turn away customers and cause revenue losses. What our new passive system is, it actually allows people to still capture those ETFs in a passive environment and get rid of those actively managed ETFs that you end up losing already with the fiduciary rule. And in the event that this fiduciary rule does happen to stay, and even though it hasn't been delayed till June, if it happens to stay and you can't do as many actively managed in the US area, we have an alternative. And that's being able to expand off to areas such as Canada, where the Board of Labor has now passed a fiduciary law and allows you to still be able to capture those customers with passively managed ETFs and expand that to an actively managed ETF down the road. Another revenue stream that you can see for Edward Jones that allows you to continually expand in the markets that you may not have as strong as This is what's really going to create a solution for our people.
And so now you have this platform, this idea, and it's time to build. But first, before even going into Canada, as Tyler mentioned, you want to test it on our ground soil. So let's build a platform, a pilot. That is going to model after Amazon's AWS system, where you aggregate data and create your own warehouse. And we took that data, plugged and chugged some hours to an appropriate size scale using Chicago and Los Angeles, and calculated to about 40,000 in big data, 69,500 in data storage and maintenance, all summing up to $110,000 in an annual platform cost. Now that's substantially lower than obtaining that in-store customer, but think about that as a test, and moving forward, we'll definitely have some advantages in growing. So then, let's act like we haven't talked about this platform. We took a look and continued with the trends that we saw, and we noticed a 2.5% growth. Now, that's not horrible, but given some of the conditions we talked about, that might decline. Now, if you were to implement a platform, that might not lead up to the 33% goal for 2022. But if you were to take that approximation that Cisco found 10% increased revenue, you've already met your goal before the 5th year, 2022. Now this trajectory uses those two numbers, and you can see that the top line is surpassing that. And then the bottom graph talks about our revenue and expense composition. And as you go along, even past 22, you realize that there's a fair balance, and over time, that revenue line is going to keep increasing up. Which brings us to those customer acquisition goals.
So what I'm going to briefly go over is really going back to who is our customers and how are we going to be able to benefit from them. There's 86.7 million millennials in the United States that are able to invest. Out of those, 53% have already came out and identified that said they want to invest in long-term investments, which is what Edward Jones has always really been about and what's going to be a highly profitable market for them. The problem with those long-term investments is they're not reaching out to those people at the moment. If you divide that number, you multiply that by 40%, which is the amount of millennials that currently already use web-based applications for online banking, you're at 18.36 million people. That's your current market. That's the low-hanging fruit. That is people who are interested in reaching out to try and find new investors for long-term interests like Edward Jones and are already using these tools to be able to get into the program. Your goal is only 3.6 million. You can easily cover that if you only take 20% of your 18.36 to be able to accomplish your goals easily within the 3rd year, not even having to wait till the 2022 deadline.
So then we want to talk about retaining, talk about growth, we talk about capturing that millennial. Now let's bring it back home to Mark, honoring your first customer, the guy who's been there since day one. We want to procure customers like Mark through a simple sequence, but also letting them adapt to newer age, cutting edge technology. Someday they got to learn how that system works, and this is a fairly simple way to do it. And secure that market share of IRAs, ETFs, mutual funds, so you don't lose those familiar products with that customer, but you're also letting them taste test your service. The idea is to attain customers. And once they know how those products work after they experience it online, they'll be back in your shops wanting more financial services, advice, and you're going to worry about what to do with all the extra revenue.
Yeah.
So we've shown you how we plan to help Edward Jones solve their problem of identifying, attracting, engaging, serving, and retaining their customers. And we do that through Financial Futures by Edward Jones, an online platform that offers the 3 main ways that we try to meet the needs of our customers, which is to learn, connect, and invest. As millennials, we can promise you that if you invest in us, we will invest in you. Thank you.
That was awesome. Go ahead. Go for it. You get up on it.
So I went in on the Financial Futures and the digital platform. I was curious to know what other alternatives you had considered before landing on this one, and what made this one be your big recommendation you went all in on.
Absolutely. So we considered a couple different options. Some of them were trying to expand the current amount of stores to be able to reach new clients. We also considered just starting with a social media platform to try and reach out and try and capture these issues. The reason we went as big as a platform and try to get this large interconnected circle is because you can't just reach out to people and expect them to invest with you. You can't just teach people about them and expect them to come to you. You have to do both. You have to be able to make that sale. You have to be able to connect with those people. You have to ultimately be more comfortable with Edwards Jones financially. So the main alternatives, I guess, to that was basic social media, expanding other stores, and traditional marketing tools.
And what would you do in order to drive prospective clients to the financial futures?
So-
Space.
Yeah, so that would be done through search engine optimization using white hat strategies as far as relevant keywords. What are millennials, when they start to get that interest in investing, what are they searching that would drive them to Edward Jones? And what content can we put out through blogs that would connect with those keywords, kind of like the posts I mentioned about how to save more for traveling or investing to have money to pay off loans or whatever the case may be for the many different types of millennials and the different situations that they face. So driving them would be through social media and then through search engine optimization.
I appreciate the fact, you mentioned one component of the strategy would be to identify certain demographic information about the individuals and then based on that information matching them up with an advisor to more align with your group of individuals that you identify with. I'm wondering, actually, hold on, I lost my train of thought.
I can finish the question.
The question that I had is, is Edward Jones ready from their workforce perspective today to meet those very individualized needs from a workforce standpoint?
I can definitely talk to that. As I mentioned earlier, Edward Jones already has Edward Jones Access. They already have the platform and the really basic infrastructure that has a website to where you can have that power and be able to reach out to people. When we talk about advisors, with 15,000 advisors that they already have, and they're trying to grow that by 33%, whether or not they currently have enough advisors, they're going to in the future. And they're going to have to, because there are millennials with a large population that you have to be able to reach out to. And Edwards Jones has always been a face-to-face business. Really, all this platform is doing is being able to allow people to get to that face-to-face stage, and whether it's capturing them through passively traded ETFs, connecting them, or giving them those learning opportunities.
And I'll piggyback on that with the new condition of, let's say the fiduciary will pose some kind of threat against Edward Jones, where people aren't coming in wanting to have those IRAs and mutual funds managed. It creates a vacuum, essentially, of customers that were once there that are leaving. In order to combat that trend, an online platform allows them to recognize that there are still options available so they don't lose those products, but they're still taste testing and coming back for financial services if they're satisfactory. So it just takes that potential risk and turns it into an advantage.
So, Lynn, sort of tag on to that.
Right.
So, as a millennial, or as a minority, or would you like to see your advisor be more reflective of who you are? Is that an important component of it?
I think that's definitely a key to the millennials. They want to see someone that's like them and that can represent them. But the financial advisors that you guys already have and that's already in there, they can be just as valuable, but you would have to definitely expand and train new advisors.
We're definitely more open. I wouldn't say that you need to be worried about having the same diversity of financial advisors as the diversity that exists in your potential clients. We'll be open and trusting as long as you reach out to us and make that initial connection and we feel that we've been matched with you based on similar interests and that you serve clients with similar needs that we have, which we've told you through the first surveys. So I think it's more about knowing that you're prepared to meet our needs.
And I like your idea, by the way. It's a great idea. Do you see a trap here in terms of culturally? Edward, as you said at the end, Edward Jones is, it's a face-to-face, it's a direct relationship, and it actually, there's other players in there that are pretty good, actually really good at this. Is there a danger of us sort of culturally losing our way if we start down this road?
I think ultimately it all comes back to, we're still trying to create relationships. As we brought up in an earlier slide, the platform is just the in-between between clients and Edwards Jones. We're not trying to make the platform replace the advisors. We're not trying to push past the ETS as the end-all solution. This is still going to be something where it's a one-on-one, personal and active advising for these clients.
Okay.
And it's really just expanding your marketplace. you have to find a way to be able to reach out to those people and be able to retain them once you have them. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. I think that's a really interesting thing to think about is how many people get trapped in the first phase. I mean, it needs to be a mission to move people through.
Absolutely.
And also, the scenario we played out was a relatively low cost for a pilot, so that is able to kind of prove whether or not this whole thing works, and that was that substantially lower number. Again, if you test in Chicago or LA, whatever, you can know, okay, if this works, we can bring it up to scale. If it doesn't, it's not an entirely huge sunk cost. So definitely testing it out would be a fair try.
So can you, that slide, I had a question about that
Yeah.
slide. So that was your cost was 100 something thousand. What is incorporated in that?
So I can definitely break that down. With our incorporated cost, the main thing that we're going to have on there is going to be going over, or we're going over the AWS, the 101,000.
Yeah, exactly.
One slide. So we have 40,000 in big data. That's your data analysis cost. So that's the actual hiring of analysis to be able to manage this data. People like webmasters, people who are used to SQL databases, and how to integrate that into your current system. The second cost is your data storage. What we're using there is the industry standard of Amazon AWS system. Amazon AWS system is a large system of servers that allows you to easily and relatively cheaply manage large amounts of SQL databases. SQL databases is something that you can very easily pull information out of and be able to very easily, quickly and rapidly train over an online database. So most of that cost breakdown is going to be your financials advisors using big data and then your actual storage of Amazon AWS servers.
And to be specific, those numbers equal out to about 8,528 hours, and that breaks down to $2.47 per the data, and then for the service is about $1, well, actually 27 cents, and then that's broken down by point.
So what data are we dumping into big data?
The main data you're going to be dumping is your consumer preferences. So when you're going through the connect phase, you're going to see what are people asking for, what are people most commonly search for. As part of that's going to be training your next generation of advisors, as you mentioned. If people are constantly coming in for long-term IRAs like we see in millennials or 401k strategies, that's something that you can pull out of an SQL server. Another part of big data is what are you learning, what are people constantly looking up, and what are people getting a lot of hits on. Archiving that information and being able to say, majority of millennials are looking up how to save up in the short term instead of the long term, that is going to be beneficial to your information.
And then we would append that survey data to demographic data so that we
Correct.
specify.
Absolutely. So that will be demographically linked, such as Chicago, St. Louis, or any highlighted areas.
And so then this database, not only, it continually will show you who your next client is. It keeps you updated. It's not only who's your client tomorrow, it's who's your client next week. And you can stay updated on who's coming to your site, who's reaching out for that financial advice, so you have time to react and be trained so that you're ready for those clients.
You mentioned the fiduciary role a couple of times, and we are actually food support, so just a small nit. We are not opposed to the fiduciary role in any type of way. We should be acting in your client's best interest. So I'm curious to know, what is it that made you think that we were opponents of it, and what is it that you think that we're going to struggle with having this role in play?
I think the fiduciary rules, my understanding, is it creates a much larger barrier to entry for ETFs, particularly mutual funds, particularly since the fact that it is, you have to reveal all the information on commission, and it creates a little bit more regulation on that. Whenever you open up that information to people, you may overwhelm the millennial with all this information about here's commission, here's all this breakdown, and things like that. That's not something you want to do, and that's a really rigid structure. That's not something you can really tailor. That open contract has to be signed, it has to be presented in such a way. When you overflow some of that information, you end up potentially losing clients. And I also, from what I've been reading, could potentially cost you on how much you're actually able to actively manage those ETFs. To my understanding, and from what I've been reading in certain reports, such as CNBC.
As you spelled out, there's really two issues. One is the changing demographic mix, diversity, and then the millennial. This seems pretty targeted towards the millennial. Do you see how, envision how this is also going to address the diversity challenges with this platform?
The diversity challenges in the millennial groups.
With just in general, right? So the case study had two
Yes.
different variances happening.
Right.
Yeah, so through our strategy, we wanted to make sure that everyone felt comfortable coming to us and building that relationship. are more open to those different diversities. So to us, it was more so.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's fantastic. Thank you for your time. That was
Thank
really
you.
cool.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you to Bravo for presenting the resolution. Please wait down in the lounge again until we have lunch. Thank you so much. Did you get your flavor?